The Georgia Bulldogs, yes, you are seeing that right. We are using a tier 1 team today because we're in the playoffs, and I think it's easier to find matchups in the playoffs with tier 1 teams, so that is what we are going to do, and it's just fun to every once in a while use a team like this, give ourselves a little bit of a treat here at the end of the game. But it wasn't just the depth chart that really drew me to Georgia. I actually think they've got a sneaky, I don't even know if it's that sneaky, I think a lot of people like it, but the Georgia offensive playbook I think is really, really solid. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over the depth chart, how we set up the Georgia team. We're going to hop into practice mode for an more of an extended look at the playbook because unfortunately gameplay wise we weren't able to get a ton. We did find a first round playoff game, didn't last super long, and then I tried searching for 10 minutes and couldn't find a second round game, so that's just what we're going to do with Georgia. So offensively, we are going to have Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, step up dot, resistance on time. Another guy who's going to be one of the top quarterbacks next year. I still think he's going to be below Arch Manning. I wouldn't be shocked if he's below Bryce Underwood. I think those two will be right there. I'd be very surprised if Arch Manning is not the highest overall quarterback in the game next year. Halfback wise, I love this man, Nate Frazier, sidestep shifty, 93 speed, 96 XL, 93 change of direction. He is one of the most fun halfbacks to use throughout the entire game. Love me some Nate Frazier. At wide receiver, we're going to make a few changes here. We're going to keep Zachariah Branch as our wide receiver one. Obviously, 97 speed, double dip 360, and sidestep. Yes, sir, may I have another. Then we're going to throw little white boy London Humphreys in here. 6'2", silver shifty, 95 speed. So he's going to come up and be our wide receiver 2. And then White Helton will be our wide receiver 3 because he also has 360 in the sidestep. And he's the third fastest receiver on this team. So we have that top end speed with Branch. You still get a really fast guy here with Humphreys. Then a bit of a drop off, but still, if you're only running 3 receiver sets, we're pretty happy with the 3 we got here with Georgia. Especially if we're running 3 receiver, 1 tight end sets, because then that means Oscar Delp is going to be on the field. 87 overall, 87 speed, 6'5", 50-50, sure hands. I love good tight ends in this game and in real life, if you know what I'm saying. But Oscar Delp, one of the best in the entire game. This guy is an absolute stud. Defensively, we are going to make a change at corner, actually. We're going to keep Everett as one outside corner with his knockout, ball hawk, bouncer, house call. Then our other one, we're actually going to take Robinson down and put Harris as our other outside corner. Because as much as I like having that extra height at the slot corner, like Daniel Harris is 6'3" compared to Robinson being 6 foot tall, I think Robber works better in the slot than it does on an outside corner. I just think they're involved in more plays where that Robber is going to give you a chance to actually do something. So we're going to have Everett and Harris being on the outside. Robinson the fourth is going to be our slot corner. At free safety, we are going to keep KJ Bolden up here, blow up and knockout, 93 speed, strong safety. We're just going to keep this one Ja'Cory Thomas because Zion Branch is going to come down and be a sub linebacker for us. He's 2 inches taller, he's 1 speed faster. It would make sense to put him up at strong safety, but with that blow up ability, I think having him come down is going to make a lot of sense. Other changes we're going to make here are going to be on their defensive specialist or slot receiver. Keep that Zachariah Branch, you'll see why that's important. Early on in this game, rush to left end, we are going to make this Mr. Allen. There's just nowhere else for me to really put him, and I feel like this is better than nothing. I feel like with these abilities, he's got to be out there somewhere. Gold blow up, platinum hammer, platinum aftershock, platinum wrap up. We have to find a spot to put him. I think rush left end is going to make the most sense for us. Rush right end. This is the negative of Georgia, as you know, you do have Wilson here is going to be your platinum quick jump, one of your edges, but compared to like the Texas defensive line, it's not the best. It's great we have that 1 platinum quick jump, but that's really it. And then at rush D tackle, we are going to move Miller to be up here. Outside disruptor, option disruptor, and grip breaker. And you do have a bronze pocket disruptor on Griffin, but not a lot of pass rush abilities across the defensive line of Georgia, but it's made up for by how good their secondary is. And at sub linebackers, we can throw in Aguero, 90 speed blow up and hammer, and then Zion Branch, 90 speed with blow up. So you got a lot of good speed everywhere, as you would expect with a tier 1 team, but that defensive line just, I don't know, I feel like it could be a little bit better, especially compared to some of those other tier 1 teams. So that is how we are going to set up the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's go take a look at their offense. So we'll look through pretty much this whole thing, but first I'm going to start with the formations that we are going to run, that I was planning on running more throughout the game. Cluster in the 2 bunches and trips tight end offset week. We'll actually go ahead and start here. because I do love trips tight end offset weak. I personally like it better than regular trips tight end because of the verticals play out of here. I think this play is fantastic. Having that halfback sneaking out behind those vertical threats on the outside almost always gets left wide open. Against zone coverage and against man, the halfback's going to win on that most of the time. And on top of it all, the cherry on top, this is very easy for us to set up our cover 4 bomb. We ran it when we were Michigan against Texas. We run one here against LSU in this playoff game, and I'll show you guys the setup for it in case you have missed it. So this is only against quarters. The setup for palms is different. But if you see your opponent coming out in a lot of cover 4 quarters and keeping the match coverage, we can keep this pretty much as it is. Just take your X receiver, your outside one, put him on a return. And that is going to leave our slot receiver Branch wide open on this once he gets downfield right there. The inside quarter bites down on our inside slot receiver as long as he's going on a deep vertical threat like he is here. I don't know if you want to call that a post or a super deep cross or whatever it is. He just has to be a vertical threat going down the middle of the field. The return route that we throw Humphreys on for whatever reason really just dumbs out the outside quarter over there. And then that just leaves nobody to guard Branch once he gets downfield. Pretty dang easy. It's just one hot route in this play, so it's nice to have that as an available option for us in this Georgia playbook. Elsewhere, it's a pretty standard trips tight end offset week. It's just a really good formation. So any playbook that has this already, it's going to bump it up a notch or two in my book. Having the RPO in there, RPO reads are fun too because you can actually keep them with your quarterback. Stockton's got not the most speed, but he's fast enough. If you want to take off and run with him a little bit, you can. But other than that, it's very standard trips tight end. Now, their cluster. If you want to get nasty with this, and I think this would actually work a lot better than when we tried it with Kansas because we have Oscar Delp. You can call this mesh play. We'll just put them in whatever. We'll put them in just a base like cover 3 here because this should work pretty well against cover 3 for the most part. We can flip this play and get our inverted hot route on Oscar Delp here. So if we flip it and then throw a slot fade on Delp, bang, he is on a slot fade going over the middle of the field. Then we just take our RB receiver, throw him on a streak, bing, bang, boom. We got a really, really good play here. So you could take Humphreys too and put him on something to try to get that outside third on the right out of the way. But either way, we should be fine. You could throw this to Delp or White Helton against cover 3 because our outside third on the left is going to follow the corner route Branches on. The middle third is essentially going to have to pick between RB and A. You'll have one of them pretty wide open. You can go Delp right over the middle of the field. Not the best ball there by Gunnar Stockton. But if you really wanted to be nasty with this Georgia team, you have the opportunity to do it and kind of just dumb the game out a little bit. We'll see if we can go a deep one here and pass lead this to the left. You see how eventually that outside third on the left goes over to the corner route Branches on. The middle third goes over to Delp. Left our RB receiver wide open on that streak. So that's something I was considering doing at some point, but it does feel a little bit cheesy. Elsewhere in this cluster halfback strong, there's a verticals play. I really think this is a good one too. We'll just throw them in a random defense. It shouldn't really matter too much. This one we take Delp, throw him on a drag, throw your halfback on a streak, and we're setting up pretty much a dagger concept here, something out of, bunch strong offset, those kind of things, with the shallow, the deep cross, or the streaks. Where a lot of zone coverages, they're going to get cleared out by the wheel route B is on, the vertical threat RB is on, and A coming across, and it's going to open up a lot of space for your halfback. If you have time in their drop zone, you're almost always going to have RB or A open on this. Really just putting a lot of stress on the defense. So they're in man, RB is going to be wide open on this. Absolutely cooks them. It's a beautiful play. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful setup. Those would be our two main pass plays out of cluster halfback strong. The runs out of here, I don't like as much as the cluster in Notre Dame because we're running away from our 3 blockers we have over on the right, our tight end and our 2 wide receivers. But still having something like a quick base that we can throw in here is a nice little change of pace. For when you do want to run the ball. You could do much worse than having a quick base. But yeah, having the inside motion guy on the mesh, cross switch, all those different plays where you can put those inverted hot routes, just a nice little bonus for us here in the cluster halfback strong. Now, out of their regular bunch, I typically don't love just a regular bunch. I love bunch strong offset, but something about regular bunch just never fully clicks with me. But what I do like in this one is this mesh spot play. Again, we can just throw him in a random defense. What I would like to do here, just throw X, put him on a streak. We still get that mesh underneath. Now we have a few vertical threats. You have your halfback trying to sneak out on a wheel to the right. Really opens up quite a lot. We can just take B right over the middle of the field there. So you can take your checkdowns, you can take your easy yards, or you are, threatening the defense deep here. Just with how they're aligned, I was waiting to see Delp. Oh, I actually meant to throw that to RB. Even in practice mode, I hit the wrong button. We had our drag going to the right wide open. But against man, you're typically going to have one of those drags. If we actually, I bulleted that. If we lobbed that to Frazier, we still had a chance because it was man coverage and Frazier's got some good wheels on him. So this is just in general a very good play. Again, we'd probably just take B here. Yeah, just take the nice easy one. They're all backing up so much. Defenses are really going to struggle against a play like that. So I do like that out of the gun bunch of Georgia. Was there anything else? I actually don't really think so. A few of the runs look kind of interesting. Smash return, I do always like that play. Or you just throw a streak on X or something, but in this formation, I typically will like it when our solo side receiver is a little bit closer to the line, so you can motion him in like this, and that just does a lot better job against a lot of zone coverages. It just really kind of dumbs them out a little bit, but we can see there against man, again, we're going to have that drag because it's Zachariah Branch, who's an absolute stud. So a few different things in the gun bunch. I don't know. I'd probably have to look into it a little bit more. Now, in bunch-wide flex, so this is the same formation that Boise State has, but Georgia, of course, does not have Bronco shallow cross. They wouldn't call it Broncos if it wasn't just for Boise State. And that's one of my favorite plays in the entire game. So Georgia not having that, it does hurt them a little bit, but we do have a branch return out of here where your outside solo receiver is already closer to the line, so you don't have to motion them in, which is nice. We have some flood. You have another verticals out here, which you can set up pretty much the same as the verticals we were doing out of the cluster formation. This time you would just throw A on the drag, and then you'd have to streak Delp. And then you got a pretty similar idea, is you can't take your halfback out on a streak. You'd probably put him on a Texas route, some sort of setup like this. And then they kind of leave the Texas route right over the middle. That was a horrible pass lead. I pass led that up, and that was the worst thing we could do in that situation. But just a little quick setup like this is a nice one. They're going to be in some man coverage, so we just take that quick drag. And that's the thing I like about these plays too, is this. If you're paying attention, it's pretty easy to tell what defense they're in just because of that play design. We see them, trying their best to keep up with A there. We know that's man coverage. Versus some other route concepts, it might be a little bit more difficult, at least right off the rip, to be able to tell what defense your opponent is in. You also got this stock dagger play, so that's going to be Delp coming on that drag. Any drags that are, especially ones that are starting closer to your offensive line, like that are coming from a tight end attached, or closer to the line receivers like Delp is on this formation, defenses are really going to have a hard time with. And you're getting a little high-low over the middle, where they either have to stay down on Delp or drop back on A, who's going on that deep crosser, then hopefully they're following A to the left and opening up a deep shot potentially for B over the middle, or you can never forget about those sneaky little seam streaks. So those are the main formations that I was interested in running here with Georgia. We'll take a quick look at the rest of their playbook here, see if there's anything else if we come back to Georgia that we would want to run. So we'll just go through these pretty quickly. I like the looks of this wing slot weak. I don't remember how good is the second tight end of Georgia. Obviously we know Delp is an absolute stud, an absolute monster. Oops, that's left tackle. Our backup still 83 speed with 50-50 in sure hands. You have a 6'7" 50-50 in here too, but only 80 speed. How about Riddell? He's got nothing. Okay, so an 83 speed, 50-50 sure hands. Could do much worse. So this would be a perfectly viable formation for Georgia to have with two tight ends in here. That drive play is nice, PA dagger. This would obviously be more for runs, but having these few different RPOs we can mix in here is certainly nice as well. Motion PA verticals. Let's see how this one runs really quick. And yes, we're taking longer to go over the playbook here, because the actual gameplay was it was very short, and we didn't really get to run a ton of our offense. So I'm actually going to be testing a few things out here in practice mode. Let's see. Oh, wow. Well, against cover 2, it looks like that play action verticals play looked pretty dang nice. All the linebackers kind of bit down there, left B wide open over the middle. Okay, so we like the looks of that. Deuce close. You got mesh in here. Do we have what's the RPO out of here? RPO read flat wheel. That one is so annoying. It is so impossible to stop. And RPO peak stick. I feel like almost no matter what you set your defense to, no matter what coverage you're coming out in, somebody's getting open on RPO read flat wheel. So that's a nice one to have in our back pocket, especially if we're in the red zone, a 2-point conversion, things like that. We do get some gun doubles, which is nice. Doubles offset, shark halfback wheel, a fantastic pass play. X Dagger's a nice one in here too, a few different play action ones. FL Spot, I really like these type of plays that we really don't have to hot route anything on if we don't want to, like a shark halfback wheel, giving us the option, you know, even if we're on the road, we don't have to just write off certain plays. Like we tried doing that glitch hot route thing with Kansas on the road, can't really do that super well. But having some of these nice easy plays that we don't have to do anything on makes the playbook much more viable in my opinion. But I'm still hoping, really hoping Stadium Pulse is just not going to be in College Football 27, or at least just make it an option in Dynasty or something, but we'll see. All right, so we got some normal Y off here, another 3 receiver, 1 tight end set, which I think is perfect for the way this Georgia team is set up. If we can just keep those 3 receivers and Oscar Delp and Frazier on the field, I'm liking what we're doing here. Some crazy different motion wheel routes, which I'm pretty sure they patched that one glitch where it was like you could quiet the crowd or something and the defense just doesn't react to that motion and it leaves them wide open. Some fun times. We got some normal Y off week. Again, sticking with that 3 receiver, 1 tight end, 1 halfback. Things we love to see here. The wide receiver under, X dagger, shallow cross. I'm liking the normal Y off week, normal Y off, doubles offset. That's a nice little group of 3 different plays here. Different motion returns, a lot of motion on our tight end here, which again leads to, you know, having a faster tight end being a huge benefit of the Georgia offense. Slow tight end, do you want them running motion wheel routes? Probably not. So having somebody like Oscar Delp, really nice. Stick and nod, fantastic against match coverage. This wing trips doesn't look too bad. Of course, you have the RPO read Y flat. A lot of RPOs across this playbook here too. Some more wheel routes, these times actually on like your slot receiver there. Yeah, that's gonna be Zachariah Branch, kind of lining up more inside. And then I just want to see how this one actually looks. So Branch lines up next to Delp. Then he does motion out and then goes on his wheel. Oh, he runs that weird. Maybe it was just that time he slipped or something, but we'll see one more time here. When he turns up field, yeah, look, he slips. Chuck it. I just pushed a button. Go get it, Humphreys. Yeah, so it looks like Branch just slips when he tries to go upfield here. Yeah, it's like he loses his footing. He's going ice skating or something, so I don't know about that play. I know in Madden, if their route running is too high, they run wheel routes really weird. I don't know if that's a thing in college football or not, but I did not like how he was running those wheel routes, so we'll move on from there. We go to some wing trips week. Again, we are seeing motion wheel routes. These are just the thing in the Georgia playbook, apparently. How many different plays have we seen with friggin' motion wheel routes and tight end wheel routes? Georgia loves their friggin' wheel routes. Holy cow. Y off trips, a ton of just motion in general. We see some halfback motion going on here. A little tight end mid screen. I could see this being potential with Mr. Delp. So he goes out, he comes back, let these guys kind of come after us for a little bit, let our big boys go pick up some blocks. I definitely think if you want to run Georgia, the playbook in like a dynasty, you do need a fast tight end, because with all the different wheel routes, all the crazy things you're asking your tight end to do, it does kind of seem like a necessity. At least from what we're seeing here so far. We've also got some gun trio with a more motion going across the board here. Trio, typically not a huge fan of. We have a speed option. We have an RPO. I mean, a decent verticals play, PA deep attack, slot corner, a lot of play action in here too. Counter and inside zone, flood. I mean, nothing really jumping out to me here. And these like reverse wheel routes, these never seem to work great for me. They always seem to get stuck somewhere along the line. Let's see how Frazier runs this one. Keep the play action, keep him going, keep him going. And look how long that takes too. So I don't know about those reverse wheel type of plays. I'm not sold on the trio formation here of Georgia. Now, we already covered these next 4, so we can take a quick look at their spread formations here. And what's kind of nice about these is well, I guess it depends on your definition of nice about these, but they do use your tight end as your right slot receiver here. And some more just wild plays in here. So again, another point to you need to have a good fast tight end if you want to run the Georgia offense. But a wide receiver screen going out to the right, a motion halfback cross screen, a fake screen wheel, and a motion FL screen. Georgia's got some wild plays in this playbook, man. They've got some really interesting stuff. So much motion. I do not remember this about Georgia at all. Oh, probably because I just stuck in bunch and cluster most of the time, like a real EA football player does. You know what I mean? Everybody just runs bunch all the time. Yeah. So a lot more motion, shallow cross, double post, halfback base, dig H seam. So still some good solid pass plays. I never like these motion for verticals plays because I feel like this motion guy and then Branch just run into each other like all the time. So maybe because Branch is faster and it's Delp. Yeah, see, that actually works better because Branch is, 97 speed and it's our tight end. Versus if you get guys that, if that's a receiver instead of Delp, maybe he's faster than our wide receiver, that once he goes in motion and starts taking off, they'll actually run into each other and just cause a giant mess. So I actually don't hate it with the setup of Georgia here. As long as you're comfortable with some crazy motion, and here's some more some more motion mesh, post, wheel, a whole bunch of different motion meshes. And these ones, you probably don't want to do the inverted hot route thing. That almost always works best when it's your most inside receiver, because then you can set up with the streak in the corner and that kind of stuff. It all kind of works together out of there, just if you were curious about it. So what else do we got here? Tray open, halfback strong. Scissors is a fantastic just stock pass play. A lot of RPOs too. A lot of motion and RPOs in these playbooks, and some screens. Some more motion out of tray open offset. Sure, why the heck not? Just keep the motion going. And with your halfback going in motion, you can do inverted hot routes on your halfback too. We'll try it on here. So if we do, what's wheel route? Down on the D-pad, so we flip and then go wheel route. Now he's running one to the opposite side. This actually works pretty good in Madden Ultimate Team. I'm not, at least from what I've seen, I'm not sure how well it'll work in college football, but if you got a guy like Frazier, maybe that works pretty well. So yeah, if you want a different, you can have a Texas route going the wrong way and stuff if you wanted to, which that actually doesn't look too bad. But against man coverage especially, the user would never see that coming. Yeah, any hot route, any auto motion, you can flip your play, put them on a hot route, and they'll have to flip, even your halfback. What fun that is. And you have just a regular verts halfback angle. I don't like those stock angle routes. I think Texas routes work a lot better, so I'd still probably throw a Texas route on your halfback on that one. So not too bad. Then we do have MTY flex, more orbit motion. Oh, geez, Georgia loves their freaking motion. This is kind of crazy how much they got throughout this entire playbook. But really, in my opinion, if you run Georgia, you could just stick between these four and run a really, really strong offense. You should be able to audible just between these four. They all use 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 halfback, so you should be able to mix and match between them. And as long as you stay in those 4, I think you can make something really, really nice. You do have some pistol Y-off trips here, halfback swing. Ton of play action. I'm surprised we don't see any more motion in that, but that's the only pistol they have. Single back, you have deuce close, bunch ace, and Y-off trips here. Bunch close. Do we have the RPO out of this bunch close too? A ton more play action, more power runs as you would kind of expect in a formation like this, but we do not have that RPO read Y flat. Then, so you have an over toss wide receiver reverse. You have a toss, and you have the fake reverse all in bunch ace if you want to run a little under center here with Georgia and get kind of freaky with it. And you have an end around, and you have a play action end around. This Georgia offensive playbook is just a never-ending bag of tricks. They've just got some crazy stuff in here. And then there's single back Y-off trips. Let's see if we got anything kind of fun and interesting in here. Not really, power O, play action off the power O. That China under looks like a good stock pass play. SC curl doesn't look too bad. An off tackle run, pretty standard looking Y off trip. So that is the full overview of the Georgia offensive playbook. I think it's a ton of fun. As long as you got a good, fast tight end to take advantage of a lot of those different motions, a lot of those different wheel routes, I think this is a pretty dang viable playbook to run in Dynasty, or of course on Ultimate Team you'd have a fast tight end. So I think it's worth looking into, and anything with versions of bunch is going to do well in a college football game, in an EA football game. So you get the 2 versions of bunch, cluster halfback strong, which essentially works kind of just like bunch. And you can also, do the flipped hot route glitch. So overall, big fan of the Georgia playbook. Let's take it to the game. I know we went over this a little bit more than we typically do. But we'll go ahead, throw it to the game. First round playoff game, Georgia taking on LSU. And our playoff opponent has been found for the Georgia Bulldogs. So we don't really use tier 1 teams very much, but even with tier 1 teams, this took nearly 3 minutes. It's just about impossible to find tier 4, tier 5, even tier 3 sometimes playoff games. So once we get into playoffs, I think that's a good time for us to go to these tier 1 squads. It is somebody's national championship. See who we're going up against. I mean, we just used Michigan to beat Texas, but I do like that Michigan playbook a lot. This Georgia one, we're still figuring some things out. I think there's some really good things in here, but it's going to be kind of testing things on the fly as we go up against the LSU Tigers. We're in 2029. Wait, what? Why do their patches say 2029 in a road to the college football playoff game? What in the... Your guess is going to be as good as mine on that one. But here we go, Georgia. LSU, of course, a ton of speed on offense. Actually, the team, if we win this game, that we'll be using next is going to be LSU. I do want to use them again. Super fun offense to use. Going for his first national title, does love to pass the ball. But with these tier 1 teams, anything can happen. We're not writing anything off here. We're not taking anything for granted just because of the division he's in and things like that. So let's go Bulldogs. See if we can't get this offense moving here nice and early. What do we want to start off in? I do really like the bunch Y flex. I don't know if I love Georgia's version of it, but we'll start off in it. We'll just go with a run. We know Frazier's a stud in that backfield, so we'll see if we can't get him going early here. He is using that defensive end. Always an interesting move. If they're good at using that defensive end, it is going to be very difficult. It's going to be a nightmare. He was in cover 4. I'm going to go for our cover 4 quarters bomb right away here, just to see if that is still what he's going to be sitting in. Just throw a return over here, and throw a streak on Branch. And if he's still in quarters, we should have Y for a touchdown here. Pass lead this inside. Branch should be fast enough, and it's a good ball by Stockton, and that is a quick touchdown for the Georgia Bulldogs. 2 games in a row, we've gotten a cover 4 bomb to work. Things you love to see. 30 seconds in, touchdown, Bulldogs. All right, he's coming out in trips right away. Of course, we do have to be worried about the speed of LSU, but in this formation, we're really going to be watching for RPOs here as well. So we're going to have a hard flat over on this side. Oh, a fumble. Oh, my goodness. What a hit by number 8. Go ahead and take it in, Bolden. Go ahead and just take it all the way, Bolden. What an unbelievable start. What a hit stick. I tried to switch over because it looked like that wheel route was getting wide open, and that was a concern. Ends up not mattering. That is a hit stick fumble in Georgia football. So what do we want to go? I mean, does it really matter that much what we go to here? How about a motion RPO alert bubble? Or do we just run the ball? Let's just run the ball, I guess, out a bunch here at the 1 yard line. Sure. Let's see if these big boys up front can do their job. Yeah, those linebackers of LSU are gonna make things difficult. So he's just in some man coverage there. I mean, I don't hate the idea of a reverse. I really don't hate this RPO idea either. I'm gonna give this a try. I don't know. This feels really dumb. So who is it? It's Humphreys going in motion. Let's see if this is gonna work at all. I mean, it's man coverage, so oh no, he got back over there in time. It is not going to work at all, but we can find a gap in there with Frazier and take it in for the touchdown. Georgia, less than a minute into the playoff game here. I lied. A minute and 7 seconds into the playoff game up here, up by 2 scores. And the connection to our peer has been lost. Okay. Well done, Georgia. Way to take away that national championship from that fellow. I mean, the offense is a ton of fun. Wish we got to use it a little bit more in that one. I suppose we should probably do one more game, huh? We only ran, what, 3 plays of offense in that one? Let's just keep it rolling with Georgia. Well, I tried for about 10 minutes here. It is my lunch break on Friday, so it's middle afternoon. Not a lot of people online. Apparently nobody in the playoffs with a tier 1 team looking for a game right now. I tried looking twice. That's enough for me for now. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see a ton of the Georgia offense actually in action here, but as I'm sure you guys saw already in the intro, I'll just go a little bit more in depth in the playbook than we usually do. So this isn't the shortest video of all time, but overall, I mean, Georgia is one of the teams we lost with during our campus tour, and we went through and got a win with every single team in the game. And there weren't a ton of losses we had there. The Georgia one, I feel like we got kind of robbed, but then won on a walk-off touchdown in overtime the next time back with them. If you haven't seen those videos, highly recommend them. If I remember, I'll throw the link up here somewhere. And it's honestly kind of hard to talk about tier 1 teams just because they're so good. Like, what makes Georgia interesting is I do like their playbook more than some of the other tier 1 teams. It's right below Ohio State and Notre Dame to me. I think Ohio State, Notre Dame, interchangeable how I'm feeling that day, are the best playbooks in the entire game. It's 1A, 1B. I think Georgia's right behind them, especially when it comes to tier 1. We can just look through the tier 1 teams here really quick. Like I said, I think we're going to use LSU next just because I want to use LSU. The team is a ton of fun. I don't love their playbook though. Same with Indiana. Ton of RPOs. And honestly, I don't get how their overall is so high. It's like they have good players everywhere. I guess that's probably what it would be, but they don't really have those super high end players. Like Georgia having Zachariah Branch and Nate Frazier on offense and Oscar Delp at tight end, in my opinion, makes them a better offense than Indiana, despite the Hoosiers being a 99 overall. And yeah, not the biggest fan of their playbook. LSU, we are going to try again just to have a 99 and 98 speed receiver. Why the heck not? We might even put Johnson in at quarterback. He can't throw the ball worth a dang, but running around with him sounds like fun. We'll see. Miami, that's one I keep forgetting is in tier 1. I love Miami in the game this year. Their offensive playbook's really good. Tony, now that they've actually come through and done some roster updates, Tony's super fun. That halfback is a bulldozer, and he's got some wheels. He can outrun things. And you have 6-1 on defense that you can set up with Miami. So every single player on your defense has an ability. That's the first team we did after Campus Tour finished. I wanted to go right back to Miami. Notre Dame, love their offensive playbook. Ohio State, love their offensive playbook. Oregon, I don't know. I've never been super comfortable in the Oregon. And also, how are you an 89 overall with a 94 offense, 94 defense? Same thing with Indiana. They're 93 overall with a 99 and a 98. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Penn State, I hate the gadget stuff they added for Penn State. This has just turned into playbook talk at this point. But I hated a lot of the gadget stuff they put in for Penn State, like the empty lion formation, I think is really dumb. The gate formation sucks. But the rest of their playbook's pretty good. By far the most controversial video, if you want to call it that I ever put out, was our first glimpse at the Penn State playbook when this game came out. People did not like my opinions on it, but outside of that stuff, it's not bad. Texas, nothing really to them. Texas A&M, nothing really to that offensive playbook, in my opinion. The plus side of Texas, their defensive line is freaking disgusting. Same with Texas Tech, the veer and shoot offense. If you're comfortable with that, Texas Tech's a solid choice for you. Alabama, one I need to play around with a little bit more, and one we might use in this run. I haven't decided who we want to use after LSU. I was going between Ohio State, maybe Indiana, maybe Alabama. But yeah, so Georgia, a tier below, right with Miami. I'd put them kind of tier, not S, A tier, S tier, Ohio State, Notre Dame when it comes to playbooks here in tier 1. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. Again, apologies for the lack of gameplay. It's just there's hardly anyone playing right now, and I'm not just going to sit here all day looking for a game. But I will see you guys next time. Until then, take it easy.